Go live, ask, take two. We lost a little signal. We're going to start
however
again.
many you'll take us.
I know. We'll try it again.
The way this.
Good morning, kids.
Good morning.
Nice to see you this morning. Good morning, Tiffany.
Good morning, Teresa.
Again. We're awake. We are really awake.
Now we're fully awake.
Yeah, now we're fully awake. And we were talking about the pumpkin carving.
Pumpkin.
Which is this Friday.
Oh my God.
Okay. At my house, in the backyard, hopefully with a little campfire and the chimney and s'mores. And I'm going to be making hot dog and macaroni and cheese, and I'm going to pre-package them in little containers just to hand to the kids.
Because of the whole
COVID thing. So we'll be very safe about it.
Safe.
And Tiffany's suggestion is to do what before they come with the pumpkin?
Get the pumpkin before you come. If you want to. If you don't, it's okay, but it does save time because, you know, we do fight the daylight.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very helpful if you dig it all out first. And so if it's raining here in Fellowship Hall at St. John's, even if it's misting, anything.
And you'll send a reminder.
I will send a reminder out on Facebook. For sure. And church starts today at what time?
10:15.
10:15. And we have our annual sauerkraut dinner.
The 25th.
The 25th at 5 p.m. Kids come dressed in your Halloween costumes. So most Halloween costumes comes with masks, so you're already COVID safe
covered.
with the mask on. And we're gonna show a little some kind of Halloween movie in here.
Ooh.
I know. I'm trying to figure out if anybody has any suggestions for a Halloween movie. Not Charlie Brown. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, Monster House.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll take some.
Or the Haunted Mansion. That
something
one
that's not too scary.
That funny one.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion.
Hocus Pocus.
Oh, Eric said.
I love Hocus. Okay. We're getting sidetracked, aren't we?
What else is new?
What else is new? Saving cereal boxes. Did you all remember to save cereal boxes?
I just thought about that last night.
Okay, good. Bring cereal boxes in. We have 16, I think. We need 66. We need 50 more. That's a lot of cereal.
When do you want them by?
Yesterday.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. So we need them as soon as
possible.
Yeah.
Start eating cereal, people.
Yeah, start eating cereal.
I need to eat breakfast.
So can you pray us in with the opening prayer, please?
Yes.
Tiffany, everybody, let's pray.
All right, let us pray. God, we thank you for the stories Jesus uses to explain to us who he was. We learn that when we follow Jesus, we become connected to the vine. Let your love flow through us today and out to all the people of the world. We are all connected. We are the body of Christ, the church in the world. Amen.
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 Thank you, Miss Tiffany.
Very welcome.
Well, today we are going to be talking about a really cool letter that this guy wrote. And do you guys, first of all, peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
God's peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
So the sharing of a peace is something Christians do all the time, a lot. And these days we're not shaking hands. But when you say peace be with you, can you do it without smiling?
Peace. No, not really.
Can you do it without smiling?
It's hard.
I can.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
It makes you feel like a robot. Because when you say peace be with you,
You just want to be
you want to
inviting.
smile, and it's something that's very important when you're saying something to somebody to give that expression, because we're not going anymore. So you want to express that peace be with you,
Right.
with your face. So in our story, we're going to hear the word peace. And what's another sign for peace with your fingers? Peace. It's my fave. I love peace.
You do.
I do. Yeah. So do you worry about things?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody. I worry about things. On the table there, and there's pencils and a piece of paper. Everybody get a piece of paper and a pencil out of the box. And what I would like you to do is write a worry down on that piece of paper. Nobody's going to see this but you. Okay? So write down something that you worry about, that's worrying you. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And kind of think of that worry. and write it down on a piece of
Where
paper.
can I write it so no one sees it?
On the floor, right there, it's fine. Nobody's gonna see you, because what happens is after you write it on the piece of paper, kids at home do this too, write a worry down, and then you're gonna crumple it up into a ball. Okay?
Write your
So you're
worry.
not gonna see what you wrote down on the inside. Nobody's gonna see it but you. Only one thing, even if it's just one word. Right. Now see if you can throw it into that blue bucket.
Oh, Lexi, you're in the way, honey. If I hate you, I'm sorry.
Throw your worry and put your worry in the bucket. Ah,
Too short.
good job, though. You almost caught that.
Oh! Oh my.
So what I want you guys to do is write your worry down on a piece of paper
Only one?
and either throw it in a basket. Only one worry. One worry's enough for Dad.
Yes, please.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
You know, we think of a lot of worries, but we need to relax.
we do.
You write your worry down. Take a deep breath.
And throw
Let
it away.
out, put it in the bucket, and give it to God.
Give it to God, yes.
Give it to God. And what else is helpful with God talking about your worries?
Praying.
What do we do? Praying. Bazinga, you got it. So you want to relax in God's care.
Yes.
Enjoy the peace that is with you from God, and relax and pray. And trust that God's going to help you through that. What?
Will we ever see what those were?
No, we're throwing our worries away. So when you're at home and you're really stewing about something and you're worrying about it, it sounds really simple to do,
It does make you feel better.
but write it down on a piece of paper, crumple it up, throw it in the trash.
Why?
Don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
Well, you could. I mean, it'd be like Mission Impossible, blowing up
But then
something.
you're not getting rid of it, though.
No, then you're not getting. Well, maybe if you eat it, then
That's a whole
then
nother
it leaves.
issue.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
whole nother
yeah.
issue. But no, don't eat the paper. But throw it away, and then think and pray. And what we're going to do is we're going to hear this story about encouragement.
Oh.
Down there's the word. Yeah, encouragement.
Do we have a sign language word for that?
We do have
How do they know?
a sign language
Because we always
for that. Everybody stand up. Reach high and stretch to the ceiling and stretch your arms out. Okay. Get ready for these words of encouragement.
Oh, goodness.
And our American Sign Language. Okay. Now, do you remember forgiveness? Forgiveness. Okay. That's forgiveness. Generous. Action.
The monster.
Rejection.
rejection.
You guys do
We're
remember.
good at this, aren't we?
Now, this word is encouraged. Now, when you encourage somebody, think about this when I'm going to show it to you. This is encourage. Open your hands.
Oh, like you're
and
scooting them along.
Yeah, scoot along. Like,
Scoot,
come on,
scoot.
little fella.
Come on, little
I'm
puppy.
going to encourage you along. So that's encourage. Okay? So now we added another word to your list of American Sign Language.
We're
Okay?
gonna have to make a sentence with all these. Do
Oh,
it like in church or something.
That's going to be their job.
Ooh.
They're going to do something. You're going to
Well, I'm
speak
not
with
sure
that,
about
with
that.
those words
Barbie.
at some point in time, and we might throw a couple other words in there to help them along. With
Oh yeah.
But it's very important to encourage people along, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, if you guys want to, you can sit because I know you're so tired. It's morning and they're so tired. And as Christians, we gather in a community all together.
Yes.
And we get together to go to church, to pray, to talk about God, and to learn about God and make us happy and all that good stuff. And last week, we said that no one is rejected at church.
No.
No one
Nope.
is rejected in our church. So it's important to know that this guy, Paul, who wrote this letter, and this letter is in the book of the Philippians. And I have Bibles open. I have the story Bible and the regular Bible open right to the Philippians for you guys, so you're all ready to go. But Paul when he wrote this letter to us, can anybody guess where he was? He was at a place that nobody wants to be.
Prison.
Jail.
He was in prison. He was in jail when he wrote this. So, that's pretty profound right there. And he had a lot to worry about himself, being in jail and everything.
Yeah.
He was in jail, and he still encouraged others because he found joy in God's love being right there in jail, if you can believe that.
That's a hard thing to
That
do.
is very hard, very hard. And we're still in the season of Pentecost. Whoop, whoop. And how do you say green?
Verde.
Verde in Spanish. Very good. Verde. Yes. And, who else encourages you in your life along to do things?
Book.
The book. But people. Who encourages?
Mom.
Moms.
Definitely not mom.
Who else encourages?
Rude.
Oh, who else is is encouraging in your life? Teachers. Do any of you play sports?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't your coaches very encouraging?
Yeah.
If you're playing a musical instrument,
My mom's my coach.
your mom, you got double. A mom and a coach, double encouragement. We'll just leave it at that. So that's pretty cool though. And we are aware, how does being somebody encouraging you make you feel?
Good. And it makes you want to do more.
It makes you want to do
Be
more.
better.
Because you're like, sometimes
Nobody cares.
your self-esteem is like, I don't know if I'm doing this right.
Yeah.
But then when somebody comes up and says, hey, you're doing
great.
You're doing
Yeah.
great. And then it switches your brain and you're like, oh,
I got
thanks. Yeah, I can do this. So today's lesson is all about our encouragement. And before we read the Bible, this story out of the Bible, let's show them the video.
Okay.
So if you can
Turn our
turn
camera
our
off.
camera
I
around.
think the TV needs to be turned.
And
Oh
it's right
god,
there
there
it
goes the
is.
video.
Pizza and passe and pass. And pass, I
Hey guys, ready for the youth lock-in of the century?
think.
Someone has high expectations.
I don't.
Come on, this is gonna be great. Totally cut off from society, live music, flashlight tag, and pizza. Pizza, Leo, at church?
Hey gang! Hey
Roxanne.
Hi.
I'm your activity coordinator and I hope you're ready to have a wild and crazy fellowship and praise night. Now for food tonight, we have budget for 3 one-topping pizzas. However, we all know the unwritten rule that in the event of a pizza party, there will always be at least 1 cheese and 1 pepperoni pizza, regardless of personal taste. I know, I don't make the rules. Your mission is to agree on what the topping of that 3rd pizza will be. I'll be placing the order in 5 minutes, so if I don't hear from you by then, I'll order whatever pasta Donna wants, and I've heard she's into artichokes. Okay, let's have a blast tonight.
An artichoke.
So weird.
A weird vegetable.
Ooh. It's like a Western showdown.
Like a Lone Ranger.
Well, what does everyone want?
Hey, look, a tumbleweed.
How ironic.
Okay, on the count of 3, everyone say what they want. 1, 2.
You know what? It really doesn't matter what anyone else wants. I'm the most picky person here, so it'll have to be what I want. And I want mushrooms.
Ew.
Ruby, you can't dictate what everyone else eats.
Just watch me.
Wait, where's she going?
She's going to tell Roxy we agreed on mushrooms.
What?
tonight. Church is about encouraging one another, not tearing each other down with petty arguments. We're supposed to be rejoicing in the Lord and rejoicing in each other. Now clean up these totaled motorcycles before Pastor Donna sees them.
They get motorcycles.
She's right. Let's sing!
Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I say rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice again.
Wait, so what pizza did they get?
Lord
Oh
only
my
knows.
goodness, we don't have the answer.
They always leave us with a cliffhanger of what happened.
I know. They do.
What's the reason of this?
So the cause of their big argument was
They don't get pizza.
The pizza topping.
they had to decide. Do adults have that kind of issues?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just kids
No.
that, like, you know, have to work together to make decisions and have discussions and
Yeah.
That's your job.
That's forever going.
yeah. How do you react when somebody makes a choice that you really didn't like?
Sometimes you just have to stay quiet and be like, okay.
Yeah, sometimes you just deal with it or you start a bigger discussion.
True. So, yeah, we do have to deal with it. And when people don't get along, what usually happens?
There's arguing. There's nobody encourage each other.
Nobody encourages each other. Yeah. Encouragement.
That's when you get in an argument and you just start going, and they're like, what is wrong with
I
you?
know. I can't wait to do that. I'm going to do it. I'm good. I am. So, pardon me. That's coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, so our Bible story today. Paul is encouraging his friends, okay? And Paul loved traveling. He traveled all over the place. And way back in those times, he traveled by mostly foot.
Yeah.
He did lots of walking and lots of sandals, I'm sure he went through. But he traveled everywhere teaching about Jesus because Paul is thought to be one of the originators, the guy who started church. Okay? So way back 3,000 years, or 2,000 years, I'm pushing it, aren't I? About 2,000 years.
We're not that old.
I know.
2020.
It is 2020. So 2,020 years ago, when Jesus was walking on the earth, there weren't any churches. Like we have this building. We have
a lot in town.
We do have a couple churches in town, don't we?
But there were temples,
but
right?
There were Jewish temples, but there were not any Christian churches for about 300 years after Jesus died. Okay?
Wow.
People still told people about Jesus. You know, it was just forming. It's a brand new thing. So right there is your clue. You don't need a whole building,
No.
first of all, you know, to have a church. The church is us. Anyway, he helped early Christian believers create churches together, and they wanted to share the good news of Jesus. So some of the government leaders thought Paul was teaching people to dishonor the emperor by worshiping Jesus.
Right.
So that's how he got thrown into prison. Okay?
Because that's the way it was back then.
That is the way it was back then. Would you get thrown into prison for Jesus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too, but boy, that would be a hard thing. It's not easy.
No, but that's the one thing you just got to crumble it up and give it to God.
That's right. Well, of course, Paul felt pretty lonely in prison. Okay. He missed his friends in Philippi, and he wondered how his church was doing, and then he came up with this brilliant idea. I know. I'll write them a letter.
Very good.
Very
Yes.
good. So, have you received a letter from anyone recently in the mail?
Oh.
That's okay. We're going to get to that soon.
Oh.
So don't lose it.
Oh.
No, it's been a long time, I bet, since you guys got a letter in the mail from anyone, right?
The last time I probably got a letter is from my birthday from St. John's Church.
Uh-huh. There you go. See? All right. So can you please read the letter
Yes.
that Paul wrote on a piece of papyrus paper?
There's nothing
Papyrus.
on
That's a
Papyrus
That's a funny word.
So listen to the letter.
Okay. Dear friends in Philippi, I love you and miss you very much. Do you remember when Euodia,
Syntyche.
crazy word.
They're women.
Clement, and I worked together to teach about Jesus? You wanted to learn even when it wasn't easy. Remind Euodia and Syntyche not to argue, but to work together when they teach about Jesus. Rejoice. Be happy. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Pray like we prayed when we were together. Prayer will bring God into your hearts. Remember what I said when I was with you. Think about what is true and fair. Praise God for everything. God is always with you. Your friend, Paul.
Oh, what a good letter. What did you guys hear from that letter?
Paul.
What's he telling you?
Paul.
To not argue
To not argue.
and to pray about
pray.
yours.
Pray about everything,
Encouragement.
really. Encouragement. Whoop, whoop. Encourage.
It's
Yes.
hard not to do that.
I know, it is hard not to do that. So, Euodia and Syntyche, or Syntyche, it's pronounced two different ways. I had to Google it and look up how they were pronounced,
Yeah.
because it is a little a little helpful hint down there at the bottom of page 480 in your Bible. It tells you how to pronounce those words, Euodia and Syntyche and Clement. And that was in the other Bibles over there, Lexi, that has on the bottom of that's the one. I know you're looking for page 480, weren't you? So, yeah. He wrote that full of encouragement for us. Totally full of encouragement. So, do you always agree with everything your friends think or say? No. But, are you encouraging to your friends?
No.
I think so.
You try to be, right? Yeah, that's very good. So we can show gentleness by doing some encouragement. And this reading from the Philippians is actually, when we have our church services, the second reading every Sunday is called what?
The second,
The second reading on Testinia.
I know the last reading is the gospel.
Right. The second reading is called the epistle.
Does the first reading have a name?
The first reading is the first lesson, and that's always from the Old Testament. Okay. The second reading in our worship services comes from usually a letter that somebody wrote to us from the New Testament. Is the epistle mainly Paul? Paul writes lots of letters.
He writes lots of letters.
Yeah, but so
Interesting.
this comes from our epistle. And the churches that Paul visited were very small. If you can imagine, they had no
God visited
buildings.
them too.
Well, God was there, yeah. But it could be 2 people, it could be 3 people. You don't know how many people are in those churches. And he encourages all his friends to come together. And we're talking about no worries. So we're going to do a little fun activity on your table. Over there, number 1 is a little container. Each one of you get one of cornstarch. Can you hand me that other bowl that's already mixed up right there? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Cornstarch is fun to play with, I must say. So you have dry cornstarch in your bowls, guys. Okay? Like this. So what I want you to do is there's a little pitcher and you have a little water there.
Little water.
You're going to use your spoon and you're going to put 2 spoonfuls of water into your cornstarch. Okay, you might want to pour the water into your spoon.
In here.
If it doesn't seem wet enough, you can add a 1/3 teaspoon in there.
So you want the cornstarch? You want the water in there?
In with your in the white bowl, yeah.
Fun.
One,
Do we stir it?
stir it up. And tell me, how easy or hard is it to stir up cornstarch? It's a little difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's it trying to do?
I don't reject.
It almost feels like it's being rejectful. You're
Oh,
right.
Nader.
That was good.
Ah!
And this is cornstarch that I mixed earlier, and not by much. I just mixed it.
It's stuck.
I can't see it.
I know.
Mine's stuck.
It goes
It's-
bye-bye.
Oh, there we
It's white, but if you stir it all up, okay, and after it's all stirred up, what I want you to do, you're going to get messy because after you have it all stirred up, I'm going to have you put some in your hand and put it in your hand over top of the big bowl so you don't make too much of a mess so that big bowl catches what's in your hand. But look,
You should roll up your sleeves.
it looks like it's dry, but it looks like it's wet.
You know what
And
it's
the
called?
more you play with cornstarch, the more it goes down. Look, I'm just holding it and I'm fussing around with it. And it's going in between my fingers.
We just grab it?
Yeah, just put some in your hands. It is so fun to touch and play with.
Get it.
And it's making a mess in your hands.
I go, wow.
This is like your worries, okay? When you mess and you touch your worries, and you roll them around in your hand. Go ahead,
If
put it
you
in your
slowly
hands.
Mix it, it is liquid, but then
Ew.
It looks like liquid, but then look at this.
But mine's too liquidy.
Well,
mine's too liquidy too.
is it?
Hard.
Okay, too liquidy.
so put some
Maybe
more in.
maybe you could put a little bit more cornstarch in, just a little bit more. Yeah, there's a little cornstarch there. So when you play with it, Miss Tiffany, and you're rolling around in your fingers, look how it makes a mess.
Yeah,
That's
it
like your
sticks to-
worries.
Oh.
The more you fuss about your worries, and the more you touch your worries,
Ooh, hello.
and the more you fiddle faddle with them, the more of a mess it makes.
Yeah.
But if you take this piece of cornstarch and you roll it into a ball and just let it go and forget about it,
Ew.
look,
It's getting hardened, right?
it feels like it's wet. It looks wet, but
Like,
look,
I can't pick it up though. Yeah, that's the hard part.
but it's like hard.
Yeah.
So the more you worry,
Yeah.
You have paper towels
but when
there.
you don't think about it and you just put it in your middle of your hand or put it on the plate and not mess with it, pretend it's like your worries. That it's fine. It'll stay where it needs to stay. I have paper towels up under here.
Oh, okay, well, I was being.
I need a wet.
I know you
It's
are
like a
being.
wax
You
stuff.
can wet it in the
And-
picture.
And when you worry about
I
something,
can't get it.
and when you pray, thank you. And when you pray, it's nice to do things with your hands.
Get a paper towel and
That
wet it from
kind
the
of
picture a
helps
little bit.
you through your worries. You know, some people like to fidget. Well, playing with cornstarch is so much fun. So,
Oh, snap.
so you can see how quickly your worries can melt away. If you just put it in your hands and let it sit, your worries will melt away. Give them to God and say your prayers, and He will help you through your problems. And in our Bible, I'm going to step over here because Miss Tiffany's helping them clean. I know, she's being very helpful over there. But in the book of Philippians, and we're talking about chapter 4, verse 6 and 7 only of that whole thing. It says, do not worry about anything, okay? But in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. It says it right in here. And the peace of God, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds through Jesus Christ. So, have any of you ever wanted to volunteer to be
I
on.
love the paper towel you can use.
No, but I like playing with it.
Oh,
Okay.
play. Go ahead.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
play away. I have a challenge for some of these kids. I think some of these kids could be on one of our committees here at church.
Oh.
Don't you think? Have you ever thought about being part of one of our committees, like the activities
I have.
committee?
What's a
We
committee?
need an altar guild really bad here.
A committee is a group of people that work together to finish one task.
I do. I
To
thought
make
about
things happen. Like we have a committee to do Christian Ed, to get your lessons together and to plan activities and stuff.
Mhm.
So think about that, because I think some of these kids would be very helpful to be on the committees.
Yeah.
All right. You might not be able to be on church council, but you can visit a church council meeting at any time, and you might not be able to vote, but you can see what goes on. So that's kind of important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to talk about another thing that you guys might not know. Way back when Paul wrote his letter, he wrote on special paper. Do you remember what I said the paper was called?
Pear, chin.
Papyrus.
Oh, way off.
Papyrus. Now, I'm going to show you something really cool about papyrus. I'm going to bring it up. I feel like I'm a cook on a cooking show.
Not a papaya.
No, not a papaya.
Not a papaya.
Papyrus.
Papyrus.
This,
Oh.
guys, this is papyrus.
Oh.
Okay? See this long?
Stick.
Do we have that around here?
I'm growing it in my garden.
Of course you are.
It's near my pond. This is planted and grows along the Nile River.
Oh.
Okay? Now, the papyrus that grows in that area, see the stem? See the stem? Other papyrus can be a little thicker. Okay? Because in the state of Pennsylvania, this stuff grows, but it doesn't last in the winter because our winters are too cold.
Yeah.
So it only grows for 1 year. But if
Okay.
it grew all the time, here, let's lay it on the table. Here, let's put the funny end over there. 'Cause
Okay.
it looks like something to Miss Tiffany will play with. But it grows nice and tall.
That's
It's
pretty.
really cool looking. It looks like fireworks.
It does.
And this
It
is
looks
the
like a
end.
big, dandelion. Like a flower.
It
like-
does
Kinda.
look a poof of a dandelion. But so this is papyrus. Now what I did was I cut it, and I want to show you how they make paper from papyrus
Ooh.
in Egypt.
Interesting.
Okay? So papyrus comes, it's really hard, okay? Really hard. So what they do is they peel the green from the outside. Let's see if I can be very careful and not cut myself when I'm doing this.
Please don't cut yourself, please.
Thank you.
We'll encourage
I need
you.
encouragement.
We'll encourage you.
Yeah, but the green comes off pretty easily.
Whoa, that's crazy that you can do that.
Okay, and you take that off the outside. Now, see how strong that green feels on the outside, that green part. It feels pretty strong, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't crack apart,
No, and it comes right back.
and it comes right back. Try to bend it and see if it'll crack in half.
No, it's pretty pliable.
It's pretty pliable. So that part of the papyrus was also used. Do you know what they used the green parts for? Any guesses way back in Jesus' day?
I have a guess.
I said
Go ahead.
bedding.
A basket.
Basket weaving, that is one.
That's a good basket weaver.
And their sandals.
That's right.
Oh.
That, very good, Nyla. So yeah, you can take this, you can go like this. It's very, very strong stuff.
It's like a musical
Okay,
instrument.
and yes, you can weave a basket with that outside green part.
That's nowhere close to a musical.
This inside part, this white inside part, does anybody want to come and touch it? See how it feels?
It looks like it has a whole bunch of layers in it.
It does look like it has layers.
that feels like foam.
It does
Yeah.
kind of feel like foam. There you go.
Mine's not liquidy anymore.
Because you're clean.
Yeah, it's like spring.
Yeah, it's like springy. And It has water and sugars in it, almost like a sugar cane.
It's
It
almost
doesn't
like
have that much sugar in it,
It's
but
almost like a cheese stick. Like you should be able to just.
well, yeah, you're
Feel it.
right. It does look like that. So what they do is they also cut
Don't
this
cut
into
yourself.
strips. Thank you. Now see how strong that feels. Try to break it. It's okay if it breaks, but
Oh yeah.
does it feel strong? Does it feel strong as the green on the
No.
outside?
Not
No.
as strong as the green. No.
Can
Not
you
as
do what
strong
you
as
do
the
with
green
the
on the
green one?
outside.
Do that.
So they cut it into strips,
Kinda.
okay? Like this.
It's very friable.
It's,
It's gonna
Fried.
peel.
yeah, whoops, I didn't cut that one so
Like it's
good.
gonna peel away.
Fragile.
Yeah,
Fragile. Yeah.
Fragile.
fragile. Okay, so then they cut it into strips like this. I'll take that little piece off. And then they have to get the water and the sugars out of it to make it a little stronger. Whoops, I have this open. So what they did was they take the strips and they put it down, and they usually put it between pieces of cloth or pieces of carpet. Okay, close it up. And then take a big heavy, I have a rolling pin.
Oh, don't do that.
I won't do that.
It's not nice.
Big rolling pin and roll over the top of it really, really hard. And what that does is it
Push the water out.
swooshes the water out, and the sugars, it kind of breaks them up. And it doesn't look a whole lot different, but it's thinner and it's stronger just by doing that. Just
Can
by
you fold
rolling
it?
it.
Oh yeah.
Okay? Just by rolling it, it made it stronger.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay? Then what they do is you soak in water.
So you get the water out and then you put it back in water.
I know it doesn't make sense, but it
kinda
it does
silly.
something. But breaking up the sugars in there was one
What
of
you
the,
were trying to
yeah
do,
one of
yeah.
the main things. So then for 6 days, this papyrus is soaked in water, and 6 days, and then it can change color. It can get a little browny, like a light tannish brown. The longer it soaks, the browner it gets. So for 6 days, it stays pretty light, a light color. Then after those 6 days, we're going to pretend, I'm just going to show you what they do with it.
That's a printing machine.
It looks like a printing machine, but it's a press. It could be used as a printing press. But what they do is they take the reed, I'm going to call it reed, but it's papyrus, and they're going to lay it down, and you can come up here and see if you wish. I think I'm going to put it on the blue because I think you'll see it a little better. They're going to put it down on here, another piece, but we're going to put it this way, okay? And it has to be touching each other. It has to be overlapping with no gaps, because when you put this together, it's going to join together. So when you're putting it on, you don't want any holes in your paper.
So make a fat L. Until
Well,
it's a square.
it does look like a fat L now,
Until it's a square.
until it's a square. You got it. So you can see however long your reed is how pretty much how big your paper. Now we're not going to do the whole thing because we have to let this soak for 6 days, and then I'm going to bring it back next week and show you if it really worked.
Oh, cool.
Okay?
Oh, so it's like a two-part.
So then after you, yeah, it is like a two-parter. So after you have your papyrus laid out, then you're going to put it between paper and paper towels. And
You're gonna press it.
yeah, let's put these back in the water
All right.
so that we have them for next week. Then we're gonna put it in here and press it down
Well, you
really
can't
hard.
You can't do this at home. Not a lot of people have that.
I know, unless you can think of something really heavy to put on it.
An
But
anvil.
this is a press that I use for a flower press, but it's good for any other kind of presses. We're gonna press it in here, bring it back next week, and I'm gonna show you
What
the
happened
papyrus.
to the paper?
What's that?
What happened to the paper?
Oh, nothing. That's just a demonstration.
Not thin.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm anxious to see how that works. And
That
that
takes-
is the kind of paper that Paul wrote on, papyrus paper.
That takes a long time to make.
It does, and I wonder who was the first person that figured
Thought
that
out.
out. Oh, I'm going to cut this apart,
Yeah.
and figure this out and see how it works. So it's really cool. It is really cool. So I wanted to share that papyrus because
That's cool. I can't wait to see
I've
next
been
week.
growing papyrus
Yeah.
and wanting to try that for a long time. So.
I can't wait until next week to
I
see.
know.
What can we do with
There
these?
are lots and lots
you
of fun.
can make
So we talked about our Bible story, and we're
We
running.
could
along-
use this for our pumpkin's hair.
You could use it for pumpkin's hair. I have a couple more, and I'll save them.
hey.
So we
Watch
are
out,
ready.
guys.
We are ready to do our send out today, and
All right.
kids over here.
Yep, Rana.
Kids, I want you to remember encouragement. How Paul is encouraging us all to share, of course, about
Yes.
Jesus
Always.
and encourage each other. Let your worries go, because
Go away.
he says, pray about everything. Okay?
Yes.
So, now, before we leave, I'm going to say, peace be with you. Peace. Peace be with you. With their hands are all white and full of skunk. And thanks for getting along so well today. You guys worked together. They did all this.
Yes.
No fighting happened. You encouraged each other. Very good. Very excellent. So now we're going to pray out, but we're going to use the Philippines from the Philippians. I said Philippines. Duh. And we are going to read 8 and 9 as
8
our
and 9.
prayer. 4, 8, and 9. Okay, and then we're going to follow that by the Lord's Prayer.
Oop, prayer candle on. All right, here we go. Let us pray. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is an excellence, and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about it. Think about these things. Keep on doing the things you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
Let us pray. Our Father,
Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Oh, we all say a big
Amen.
great. See you guys all on Friday, hopefully for the pumpkin carving,
Yes.
or next Sunday.